Sylvester?
Here.
I'm here. Barb Freeze?
Here.
Carol?
Present.
Jack?
Here.
Bob O'Connor?
Here.
And Bill Stenzel is absent. Alan Volker?
Present.
All but one present.
All right, thank you. All right, our first order of business will be the approval of the minutes of the May 18th, 2026 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Alan Volker moved. Second is Barbara. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now, with our continuing business, we will have administration announcements, and that will be Joanne Copper, our Executive Director.
All right, good afternoon, and thank you all for being here today. I appreciate the opportunity to provide an update on recent activities throughout the community and to share several important projects that we will be getting underway in the coming weeks. As always, our focus remains on maintaining and enhancing the community while making thoughtful investments in our facilities, infrastructure, and resident services. Beginning with plant operations and grounds. Our plant operations team continues to focus on maintaining and improving the appearance, functionality, and long-term sustainability of our community. We are preparing to begin asphalt work throughout the community, which will improve roadway conditions, enhance resident safety, and support the overall appearance of the community. In addition, caulking of windows and doors in Arlington will begin soon. This preventative maintenance project is an important step in protecting our buildings from moisture infiltration, improving energy efficiency, and extending the life of our building components. We are also preparing for roof work in Arlington, which will help preserve the integrity of the building and support our long-term capital investment efforts. We continue to work closely with contractors and project partners to ensure these projects are completed efficiently and minimizing disruption to the residents. Beyond these larger projects, the plant operations team remains focused on maintaining and enhancing the community spaces throughout the campus. In the coming weeks, flooring in the guest bathrooms of the 3 mid-rise buildings will be updated, providing a refreshed appearance for residents and visitors. We have also began evaluating flooring replacement options for the library after a recent spill resulted in a stain that could not be removed through cleaning efforts. The team will continue to identify opportunities for maintenance, upgrades, and improvements that enhance the resident experience while preserving our community and grounds for the future. We are pleased to report that well work for the ponds is scheduled to begin on August 5th. This project is intended to improve water circulation and support the long-term health and appearance of our pond system. We recognize that the ponds are an important feature of our community, and we look forward to the positive impact this work will have. On to resident service updates. This week, we will be distributing our new reusable shopping bags to every resident internal mailbox throughout the community. We hope these bags will be useful for trips to the country store, resident outings, and everyday use while supporting our sustainability efforts. We are also excited to share that the new digital signature pad in the country store is now up and running. This enhancement helps streamline transactions and improve the checkout experience. We will be implementing additional digital signature pads in the dining venues in the near future. Now on to some Resident Health Services update. Resident Health Services has launched a community-wide emergency information update. Residents are being asked to view and update their emergency contacts, health information, advanced directives, and caregiver information. Updated records will support the Luther Village Emergency Red Folder program, helping first responders quickly access critical information during emergencies and enhancing resident safety. Additionally, Mark Drug will be on site this Wednesday from 1 to 3 in the meeting room, providing free consultations on durable medical equipment and offering select items for purchase. This service gives residents convenient access to expert guidance and equipment that can support safety, mobility, and independent living. These projects represent a continued investment in the community and reflect our commitment to maintaining a high standard residents have to come to expect at Luther Village. Beyond these capital improvements, I want to thank our residents for their continued engagement, patience, and support as projects move forward. Your feedback and involvement help us prioritize initiatives and enhance both the beauty and the functionality of our community. As we move through the remainder of the summer, we will continue to provide updates on the project timeline and progress. We are excited to see these improvements take shape and the benefits will bring to the community. Thank you for your time, your engagement, and for being such an important part of the Luther Village community. We appreciate each of you and look forward to sharing additional updates in the months ahead. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from the board? To Joanne? Okay, no, thank you. Okay, the next item of business is the LCS brokerage report. Claudia Melikanakis is with her family on a well-deserved trip to Greece, so she has asked me to provide the report. This will cover the period from May 19th, 2026 through July 22nd, 2026. During that time, we had 15 units sold. The sold units sold year-to-date now is at 38. Units closed during that month, that period, is 14. Units closed year-to-date is 36. Contracts sold but not yet closed is 7. And we currently have 5 listings, active listings. Regarding marketing, which includes advertisement, digital, phone calls, walk-ins, and that, she breaks it down into qualified and non-qualified. For qualified incoming during this period, and most of them came from the most recent prospective buyers event, and that was 87. total sale leads but non-qualified, people just inquiring about who we are, what we are, we're not matching what their particular needs are, and that totaled 126. Regarding the units sold during the period from May 19th to 7/22, there were no studios. There was 5 one-bedroom units, and days on market were 17, and days on market from the initial showing date, 4 days. The average stay in years for the particular the owner was a little over 6 years. We had 2 one-bedroom plus den sold. Days on market were 26. Days on market from the first showing date was 5. And the average stay is a little over 4.5 years. There were no 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, there were 4 sales. Days on market were 17. Days on market from the initial showing date, just 1. And the average stay in years is just over 9. The next would be, we had 1 2-bedroom plus den, and that was 6 days on market. And days on the market from the showing date was 0. And the average stay for that resident was just a whisker over 12 years. We had 2 villas that were sold. Days on market were 11. Days on market from showing date, just 1.5 days. Average stay in years was close to 11.5 years. There was 1 courtyard sold, and that was 7 days on market, and it was, I guess, immediately days on market from the showing date was 0. The average stay there was just a little over 7 years. Now, with all of the particular sales, all of them, except with the exception of the 2-bedroom plus den, sold at 100% of their asking price. The 2-bedroom plus den had a sale price of 101%. So, let me get through this. Regarding the current listings, it appears that they're all 1-bedrooms. We have 3 1-bedroom units in Arlington House, and most of them have already an open showing date. There's one that's not going to be shown until about the first week in August. We have a 1-bedroom large unit that's in Dunton, and that will have its initial showing date starting the middle of August. I know that there is a 5th that probably just came on the market when she was leaving for her trip, and I do not have information on that. Also, with all of the current listings and also with the sales during that period, none were through an outside broker. They were all through LCS brokerage. So, and that concludes the report. Okay. All right. Next order of business will be a report from the Nomination Task Force. Joyce Bader, who is chairman.
Hi. The Nominating Task Force is pleased to recommend the following 4 applicants as our slate of candidates for the October 26th election of the board. They're in alphabetical order: Carol Micah, Robert O'Connor, Sharon Perrick, Llewellyn Walton. Respectfully submitted, Joyce Bader, chairperson.
Well, thank you, Joyce. Any other additional comment you would like to make?
What I'd like to do is really address all of the residents that are here and that might be watching us. We'd also like to tell the residents, starting this week, there will be additional information coming in their in-house mailboxes about the election. The candidates' pictures and bios will be presented in the library reception area of Wittenberg Commons. On Tuesday, September 8th, there will be here in the meeting room, there will be a Meet the Candidate Forum. We hope everyone will attend or watch on 1902. The closer we get to the election, there'll be 2 videos posted on 1901 explaining how to vote. That'll probably be very helpful for the people who are new to to Luther Village. It's also really important to remind everyone we need to all vote because we have to have a quorum. And if we don't, then we have to start the election process all over, and that gets to be very costly. So please remember to vote by proxy or in person. We'll be getting lots of information about how to do all that. So, thank you.
Well, thank you. All right. And our next guest speaker is going to be Dan Wolf, who is our Corporate General Counsel, and he will be discussing the land lease appeal. So,
Good afternoon, everybody.
is it on?
Good afternoon, everybody. No, it's on? Okay. Hello, I've met many of you. My name is Dan Wolf from Schwartz, Wolf & Bernstein in Riverwoods, Illinois, and I've had the privilege of being your general counsel for about 10 years now. I'm here to talk about the land lease litigation. Most of you are familiar with it, and I wanted to give you an update on the appeal process. By way of review, the rental stream for Luther Village was purchased by a private equity firm a number of years ago. Through various machinations, they took the position that your rent should be about 1.5 times what it had been. Litigation ensued and went on for a number of years, and it was just over 1 year ago that the trial court in Cook County entered a ruling in favor of WP4, which is that private equity firm, and against Luther Village, which required Luther Village to pay substantial back rent and increased your rental payments about 50%. Now, when I say your rental payments, I don't mean the fees that you individually pay to Luther Village, but that Luther Village pays on the ground lease for this facility. And of course, those obligations resulted in increases in each of your monthly fees. After that ruling was entered, Luther Village, through the wonderful work of its administration and board, secured financing to satisfy the obligation so that that obligation didn't continue to accrue interest while this case played out. And so the fees that each of you are paying now account for a worst case scenario. So with respect to the litigation, it can't get worse, it could only get better. So about a year ago, I had it's always a pleasure to be before you, but the displeasure of coming to explain that adverse ruling and the effect of that adverse ruling. For the last year, that has been on appeal. The team at Skadden Arps, who represents Luther Village, has done an incredibly good job appealing the trial court's decision. Again, by way of reminder, the trial court did not enter its ruling after a trial. It entered its ruling on what's called a motion for summary judgment, meaning there has not been a trial in this case. It was what's called an interlocutory ruling or an interim ruling. Skadden appealed that, and about 1 month ago, I'm very pleased to announce that the appellate court unanimously overturned the trial court's ruling. So, yeah. So in so doing, the court vacated the judgment for back rent, meaning it's as if that judgment never occurred. So, well, I hear it over here. How are we getting the money back? A demand is going out to WB4 this afternoon, as a matter of fact, for return of the $6.5 million in back rent that was paid. We don't expect WP4 to ask who the check should be payable to. But we are on solid legal footing to get that money back. That does not end the litigation. Overturning the trial court's decision means that the appellate court found that the trial court made an error in entering summary judgment because there are issues of triable fact. And in plain language, what that means is the appellate court told the trial court, you've got to hold a trial on this. You can't just decide on the pleadings. So it's really good news. We're by no means at the end of the road. We're hoping to get that money back. It will be held in escrow because it could still lose. I don't think we will. We're in a much better position than we were a month ago, but it's possible. So the board has made the very wise decision to, assuming we get that money back, to hold it in an escrow. Your monthly fees will remain the same. The plan, however, is to pay WP4 the original rental amounts, hold the additional amounts again in escrow, just in case things go south, which we hope that they don't. But it's very good news. It was a very good ruling, a very strong ruling. It's available publicly if anybody wants it. The appellate court was very critical of the trial court's decision. So we think that puts us in a very good position going into trial, and perhaps positions us even better to reach some sort of resolution before trial, some form of settlement that minimizes the risk of losing, but also puts you in a better financial position than you were before. So I'm very happy to share that outcome. I think it was the proper outcome, and there's a lot more work to do, but we're a much better day today than it was a couple of weeks ago.
Were there any questions to Dan from the board members at this time? No. Okay. No. Okay. All right. Continuing, this is in regards to Board of Directors Committee structure. We have several motions and resolutions to consider, and all the board members should have copies of the two documents pertaining to the proposed changes, which were included in your meeting packet. I know that they were definitely in the workshop packet, so I hope. For motion 1, it is to eliminate the long-range planning committee with the deletion of bylaw 3.12. Would someone entertain a motion?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, thank you, Alan. Okay, thank you, Barb. Okay, discussion or comment on it? This involved, I guess with the long-range planning, that it was becoming just more of a planning committee focusing on activities. And although that's very important for our particular community, it appeared to overlap with responsibilities with the executive director. Previous years, it didn't seem to, cause that much of a, discrepancy. But with this, we definitely want the board to deal with what the important duties of the board are and allow the executive director and the department heads to function in doing their duties. So, with the calling for the motion of elimination of the long-range planning committee, all those in favor, please show of hands. 8.
I think it should be worded that elimination of the section 3.12, not elimination of the committee.
Okay.
Sounds rather ominous.
Okay, yes, okay, yes. Deletion of bylaw 3.12. Okay. And those not in favor? Okay, and motion carried. Thank you. Our second motion is to create a permanent Board of Directors Strategic Planning Committee with a new bylaw 3.12.
So moved.
Okay, Jack?
I'll second.
Okay, Russ? All right, any discussion or comment regarding this?
I think this was a good proposal because the former Long Range Planning Committee did a lot of work, but I think it helped focus that the real need was a shorter range and more strategic planning, which led to the development of the proposal of the current, the new Section 312 bylaw.
Yes, thank you. Some of the particular tasks that would be with the with a created strategic planning would be recommending annual goals for the Board of Directors, identifying and facilitating revisions as needed to the resident handbook and also to the document summary. And the main purpose is to research, identify, and recommend changes, both physical and operational, 3 to 5 years in the future based on long-term trends in senior housing and senior communities. Okay. All those in favor of the creation of the permanent Board of Directors Strategic Planning Committee and a new bylaw 3.12, please raise your hand. Okay, we have 8 yes. Those opposed? No. All right, thank you. Motion carried. For our third motion, it is a modification of bylaw 3.13, which is the Permanent Board of Director Finance Committee. And this is to permit membership of the committee to include former board members. This would require a insert of a phrase, quote, and former board members, end quote, into the sentence describing the membership of the Finance Committee. Would someone entertain a motion, please?
So moved.
Jack? Second. Second, Barb? Okay. Any discussion or comments? All those in favor of adding the particular phrase to the board finance, of the Finance Committee, signify by a show of hands. Okay. Those opposed? No. Motion carried. Thank you. We now have coming to a couple of resolutions. The first one, replacing the current oversight of the LCS Contract Term Committee with an oversight of Lowther Village Brokerage Operations Term Committee. With LCS consulting contract ending in a couple of months, and there really would not be a need for the Board of Director Oversight Committee. However, the Board of Directors does need to provide oversight for the brokerage operations, and this annual committee would, in a sense, take on board and continue much of the work that was currently being done by the Long Range Planning Committee. Would someone entertain a motion for the board resolution?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, Barbara, second. Okay, that was Ellen. Okay. Any discussion or comments, questions? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion, resolution carried.
Just getting ready to use the other arm.
Okay, we can do that. All right, for the second resolution for consideration is to eliminate the Board of Director liaison to the LCS brokerage operation term position. With the creation of the oversight brokerage operation, this kind of negates the need for a designated liaison to the brokerage operations.
So moved.
Okay, so moved. Thank you, Barb.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion, questions, comments? Hearing none, will all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. Resolution carried. That concludes what I have for continuing business. Is there any other continuing business that somehow didn't make it onto the agenda? No. Okay, we will now move on to new business. And our first item there is the annual report from the Buildings and Grounds Standing Committee. Hilda Lecter, who is vice chair, will be giving the report.
Hello, everybody. This is not my favorite job, okay? But Julie is on vacation, so it's my job. What? It's on. It's on, yeah.
Okay,
it's
well,
on.
you just make sure that it's closer to you. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. This year, all our members of the committee reviewed all outdoor spaces for villa, courtyards, and mid-rise buildings. The aisles and gangways in the 4 mid-rise buildings were also examined. All areas are now in compliance with the building and grounds policies. This year, our inspections were made so much easier since Ground Pro mulch application, because a lot of people removed stuff that was there before. So, during one of the meetings, some of the committee members asked about having a separate garden club to help with new ideas and suggestions. This found endorsement, and now there is a garden club at Luther Village under the leadership of Joanne. We also received donations of 9 new trees from residents to be planted within the next few months. That will be great. For the rest of 26, committee members will keep looking for any infractions of these rules.
Okay.
That's all what I have, unless you have questions.
Yes. Any questions from the board of directors? Well, okay. Thank you, Hilda.
Okay.
Next will be a particular topic of grill use policy at Luther Village. Joanne?
Good afternoon again. Today I'm presenting a proposed revision to the Luther Village grill use policy for your consideration. This recommendation stems from discussions and correspondence with the Village of Arlington Heights Fire Department and Building, Life and Safety Department regarding the use of grills throughout our community. After seeking clarification on current fire code requirements, the Village of Arlington Heights confirmed that open flame cooking devices, including gas and charcoal grills, are not permitted on balconies or patios associated with our mid-rise residential buildings. They also clarified that this requirement is not grandfathered and therefore applies regardless of past practices. In addition, the Village of Arlington Heights officials confirmed that villa and courtyard duplex residents may utilize open flame grills provided that they are operated in accordance with the fire code requirements that maintain appropriate clearance from combustible materials. The proposed policy revision accomplishes several important objectives. It aligns with Luther Village policies that with current Village of Arlington Heights fire safety requirements. It reduces the risks of fires associated with open flame cooking near residential buildings. It provides clear and consistent guidance to residents regarding what type of grills may be used and where they can be used. It positions Luther Village to remain compliant with the current and anticipated fire code standards with the Village of Arlington Heights. The proposed policy would prohibit charcoal and other open flame cooking devices on mid-rise balconies and patios while continuing to permit electric grills that are UL listed and operated with the required clearances from combustible materials. It would also permit open flame grills at the villas and courtyard residents when operated in accordance with fire code requirements. I recognize that grilling has long been enjoyed by many residents, and this recommendation is not intended to reduce residents' enjoyment of their homes. Rather, it is intended to ensure that Luther Village is operating in compliance with local regulations while prioritizing the safety of our residents, staff, and buildings. For those reasons, management recommends approval of the proposed grill use policy revisions, and I would be happy to hear any questions from the board.
Joanne, you indicated that there's no possibility of any of this being grandfathered. Correct.
That is correct. I did ask that question to the Village of Arlington Heights.
Okay. Now, also compliance with the ordinance of the Arlington Heights Fire Department, we also need to have compliance with our insurance, correct?
Correct. This was also something that came up on our last insurance. When the insurance broker was here and taking a tour of the community, there was concern around that at that time as well.
Okay, thank you. There had been a recommendation, I think everybody on the board received it. It was eliminating of a particular paragraph under, in our resident handbook, Luther Village Resident Handbook of community appearance, in that with the policy there are several items, and that it would be eliminating the second item, which covers barbecuing, and that then there would be an addition that would be under Section 2, under the rules of and policies, the initial general rules of pretty well kind of covers in generalities all of the particular rules for living here in a community in observance of considerations and rules, that there would then be an addition of number 19, and that would, okay, where is it? You have it here, thank you. That, like I said, under Luther Village Community Appearance, the Article 2 would, covering barbecuing, would be delete that entire paragraph. In item, and for item 2, this would be added to the general rules, and it would be under number 9, added as number 19, outdoor cooking grills. In compliance with the Arlington Heights Fire Code, mid-rise balconies and patios, charcoal and other open flame cooking devices may not be operated on balconies or patios in the Luther Village mid-rise buildings. Regarding villa courtyard residences, cooking using open flame grills is allowed in villa courtyard residences as long as they are not operated within 3 feet of combustible building material or other combustible objects. Charcoal, if used, must be started by means other than a liquid starter. Mid-rise and villa courtyard buildings, electric grills, heat only with no open flame, are permitted provided: A, the portable electric cooking appliance is listed and labeled in accordance with the UL 1026 standard for household electric cooking and food servicing appliances, and B, the cooking device must be at least 3 feet of clearance from any combustible materials.
I might comment that we did make one try to allow the patios for the mid-rise, but the fire department said, no. we were taking some of their terms too literally, that as far as they're concerned, the code applies the same as they would for any of the balconies. So we tried, but we couldn't get away with it.
Nice try.
Yeah, nice, that's what they said, nice try, but
Right.
It was literally what they said.
I do not know how many people in the mid-rises have actual grills. Just yesterday, I went out and just on the front side of Campbell House, I saw 3. I know one is electric, because that's Bob's. Yeah, he has an electric grill. So I don't know. I don't think there might be that many out there, but we need to.
we're stuck.
We're stuck. We have to have compliance here. So,
The label is okay? The label, cooking grills? Okay.
yeah. So, all right. A motion.
As much as it breaks my heart,
I know.
I move that we adopt the recommended policy. I will not have to go out and shovel snow off of my balcony any longer.
I second the motion. I think you had an ulterior motive for that.
Yes.
I feel your pain, Jack. I'll second the motion.
Well, actually, Bob seconded.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he wants to keep his electric grill. Okay. Any other discussion or comments regarding this? This kind of crept up on us, but it's something that does need to be taken care of. All those in favor, please signify. Maybe I should have a vote of hands, please. We have 8. Okay. All right. Those opposed? Okay. Okay, motion is carried. So,
Thank you.
thank you, Joanne. All right. And our next, next item under the new business is fishing in the Luther Village ponds. There was a particular proposal that was submitted and directed towards both the Life Enrichment Committees and the Buildings and Grounds Committees, seeing as how they are the 2 committees pretty well involved in setting up the fishing derby, and it is something that's promoted throughout the activities of the availability of being able to fish, residents being able to fish on our property. Would Joyce Conway, Life Enrichment, report on the results of discussion at the committee, at your committee?
Thank you, Carol. I'm presenting this report, which is basically a summary of all the discussions and the methods we use to gather resident input on this issue from the Life Enrichment Committee. The Life Enrichment Committee met with residents to gather feedback on the proposal to ban fishing in all Luther Village ponds before making a recommendation to the Board of Directors. Most residents who spoke did not support a complete fishing ban. They described fishing as a valued community amenity and an activity residents enjoy with their children and grandchildren. The annual fishing derby was also described as a well-supervised and meaningful event. Residents agreed that discarded fishing line creates a serious safety risk for the swans. They acknowledged past incidents involving swans becoming entangled and injured, including the death of a cygnet. The main concern expressed was that unauthorized children and teenagers from outside the community are responsible for much of the fishing, trespassing, property disruption, and debris. Residents questioned whether banning fishing for Luther Village residents would stop outsiders who already ignore signs and warnings. Several residents recommended trying other solutions before adopting a complete ban, including the following: stronger security and police enforcement, more frequent cleanup and shoreline inspections, clear reminders that guests must be accompanied by a resident, better resident education on fishing policies, yearly reminders about the reporting of trespassers, and limiting fishing to designated areas, such as the fishing pier. Residents also emphasize that they should not confront trespassers directly because of safety concerns. Overall, the residents who spoke supported protecting the swans and improving safety, but most believe the larger issue is trespassing and enforcement rather than fishing by responsible residents. We also asked shareholders to vote and comment on the proposed fishing ban using comment cards available at the committee meeting, from the reception desk, and from the Life Enrichment office. This voting period lasted 7 days. Of the comment cards received, the majority voted against banning fishing. The vote was more than 4-1 in favor of continuing fishing at Luther Village for residents and their guests. Based upon the shareholders' feedback, the Life Enrichment Committee recommends that fishing continue at Luther Village within the existing summer house guidelines. The committee also recommends that the Board of Directors continue exploring additional solutions to address the ongoing trespassing issue, including reviewing the residents' suggestions outlined above to help minimize danger to the swans, residents, and property. And each of the Board of Directors has gotten a copy of our suggestions, and I hope that Joanne and Victoria also got a copy. If not, we'll get you one. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or any additional comments from the board? Barb?
I'm the culprit that proposed the ban. So if you want to be mad at me personally, you can. But I see this as a humane issue. You know, we don't have very large ponds, and we have captive swan family. Their wings are clipped, they can't fly away. And they are more than just our swans, they're our pets. I doubt that anybody here would say that they dislike them. But the point is, I spoke with the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. I spoke to a conservationist that dealt with fishing, and I asked if there are any rules or even just mandates that would pertain to coexisting bird, wildlife, and fishing. And they said, it's common sense. You don't harm one area so that the other can continue. And they didn't have a law. And they said, if you want to take it further, you can talk to the game warden. I said, not at this time. And then I talked to the wildlife. He was a very nice guy. I enjoyed talking with him. His name was Ben Williams. And he was the conservationist that dealt with wildlife. And he said, it's not the first time he's heard this. And he said, most of the time it's Canadian geese that are harmed. And they are harmed by the same way that I outlined our swan are harmed. He said, we found that you can make all the rules in the world, you can legislate things, but you can't control human behavior. And if people are doing something that they've done for their whole lives and they enjoy it, they'll leave their fishing lines on the shore. And they'll cut their fishing lines so there are hooks in the water. And he said, you have no idea how that happens. And he said, most places that have any kind of legislative body will make suggestions to their residents and say, let's protect our wildlife. And usually they adhere to that. But here, I hear and I respect the consensus from the committee that says we can do both. And it makes suggestions that I think have been tried for many years. And I have witness accounts and other accounts of annual, at least one, possibly two, damage and harm to our little swan family. And they're documented. 2 deaths, not one, 2 deaths in 25. And in 24, the fish hook was embedded in the breast feathers and had to be removed. In 23, Albert was very injured in his leg where he had an embedded lure that was impossible to remove without taking him to a vet. It got infected. He needed months of treatment. He had to leave here to be treated in a vet center. That was costly, but at least he survived. And it was noted in these witness accounts that during the Derby, everybody's having a good time, but you're mainly concerned with not letting your grandchildren fall in the pond. And so you're a little distracted, and you really don't think there's any harm in leaving some, fishing line on the shore. And as far as cleaning it up afterwards, we don't have that kind of equipment to do that. We would need people who would go around in boats with specialized equipment to sweep for the lines and the lures and the hooks. We don't have that equipment, nor do we have the staff to do that. And I think the maintenance, particular Dave, lends his what he can do. But the thing is, you can't tell people what to do, and they're going to do this. It's not a lack of discipline. It's that they're busy with other things, and they don't take care of their detritus that comes from the paraphernalia. So I think we have a dilemma where we have, within 10 minutes of us, at two large bodies of water, at Arlington Lake and at Twin Lakes. And if people want to take their grandchildren, they can take them over there. They have parking benches, even places for the kids to play, and they can fish to their heart's content. But I don't understand why it would be okay to say anybody can fish here, just behave, when I don't think we can police that. I think it's unlikely to be followed for various reasons, and I think that we have a choice. Do we protect our pets, or do we let them fend for themselves, which they can't do? Parents can't even get their little cygnets untangled. They just die right in front of them. And I'm not trying to be dire. These are facts, witnessed facts. And I think that if we are reasonable, humane people, we would favor taking care of our swans rather than allowing fishing. And I think fishing is a wonderful pastime. I grew up with it in my childhood. And it's a wonderful, peaceful thing, and it has a lot of history. But I wish that it would be considered. There's a larger issue here. And there's no way we're going to keep our swans safe if we allow fishing to continue. I think it's a bit of a deflection to say it's the kids who come in here and do it. We know for a fact it's grandparents with their grandchildren. And we know for a fact that any number of people can get distracted or in a hurry and not follow those basic rules of cleaning up after themselves. So I think we're faced with not allowing our ponds to be left to the mercy, our swans to be left to the mercy of bad behavior that we can't control, and take care of them. And so that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Barb. Hilda, I know that you, at Buildings and Grounds, there also, the proposal was, dictated there. I'm sorry.
We had all these discussions, and Julie herself wrote the answer here. And it's just about the same like the other one is. The Board of Directors asked our committee to hold a discussion with our committee and other individuals who attended our meeting. We were asked if all fishing should be stopped on our ponds. There was one person who agreed to stop fishing so the swans would be more protected. Many people told us about how they had taught family members how to fish at our ponds. The discussion continued with most of the people saying the problem was not by us fishing, but by children from the neighborhood who come to fish, leaving fishing lines in the water, tease the swans, and are very rude. I've talked to some of them already. Since this was a discussion, no solution was formed to solve the problem of keeping the children off the property. Most people agreed we want to keep the fishing derby. Submitted by Julie Wright. What I can say of my own thing, I walk around every day and I encounter a lot of these kids, especially now during vacation time. And they are very, I don't know what we can do. I mean, I asked one of the kids, "Can't you read?" And he looked at me, he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "This is private property." "So what?" So, you know, this is, sue me. So, but this is just, but on the other hand, Luther Village always said that they were fishing here. There was in the sales things. When I first got here, I had no small children anymore or something, but I've lived in the area for 30 years. That was one of the positive things for a lot of people. So let's not make a decision. Yes, the Swans got hurt. I'm here 5 years now. And altogether, the Swans are fantastic. And Albert takes them on the road all the time. He walks down the street. That's more dangerous than fishing. He does. So it's hard to find a solution there, but
Well,
is it the joy of the members here? You know, so you got to decide.
okay. Thank you, Hilda. I had an opportunity, I watched both the committee meetings on 1903, and I know that there were a couple of board members that were present at the meetings. And what came across to me is the consensus is that we would still allow fishing to take place here at Luther Village, and that we would continue with the fishing derby. I don't know if everyone else is in consensus with that. Possibly if there is the fishing derby is a very anticipated and exciting time for a family event. Maybe we can work on coming up with a different family event that people would get excited about, and young, the families, kids, grandkids, great-grands want to come. But at this point, what say you, the board?
Could I say one more thing?
Yes.
Would I have the permission of the board to ask the advice of the game warden?
This is private property, though.
The state thing said this would be within their purview. Because it's wildlife. It's under the purview of
I
wildlife.
think so. But anyway,
Well, that was their ruling when I talked to them.
I think to address the part of the issue during the fishing derby, I think at least I know this last year, the Swans were never close to anybody fishing. They were kept up in this.
It's not at the time they're fishing, it's after, in the weeks and months that follow, because it's in the water.
Yeah.
And we can't clean it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think, with a couple of the recommendations that were made, like requesting fisher, we don't have, there are some fisher people out there, not in abundance, but maybe asking them if they would still just fish from the pier that's by the summer house. And this way, because they're not being bothered by the rocks and that where possibly lines and hooks can get caught. I think the other important point that was brought out on both of the meetings was that with residents, if you have grandchildren or great-grands, they must be accompanied. You must accompany them. Or else another, responsible adult. You don't just send, 6 and 8-year-olds down to the pond to fish. I'm sorry. And we do have this problem with neighborhood children coming in at 10, 11 o'clock at night. I would think parents would want to know where their kids are at, but who am I to say? So I think at this time with
So, Carol, I think that kids and their unruly behavior, separate from the fishing, is a separate problem.
yes.
And I think that we
But
have
it does contribute to putting the swans in jeopardy.
In and of itself, it probably does, but taking care of that by a further discussion of what we can do, possibly alerting the police or making trespassers will be prosecuted, signs, things like that.
Right, yeah. Right now, we are not to interfere with the these obnoxious children, we are just to call the police. If we can get a picture of them, fine, as long as they're on our property, because it proves trespassing. But I think at this time, the consensus is that the fishing derby will take place and that we will have continued fishing. During this time, let's see if there's a way that we can bring in another exciting family event that maybe can take, we can substitute that for the fishing derby. So,
Carol, I have a question.
yes.
We keep talking about the children that are here at 10:30 at night. I can tell you, I'm never out at the ponds at 10:30 at night. Are the children young teenagers, the middle age, middle school age? Are those kids here fishing at that hour, or are they here on their motor scooters and all
Motor
that?
scooters, but also
Both.
throwing rocks at the swans.
Okay.
It's just, this is why we have light sensors now on the one bridge that's by
Okay.
the swans, just to, ward off that type of
Okay.
activity and that. So,
All right. They're not technically fishing, they're just throwing.
they're just raising hell is
Yeah,
what they're doing. Yeah. So, but,
One night I did look out and there were some kids but they were well into their teens and I think they had other interests other than fishing.
so, okay. All right. But let's just kind of, we will continue with fishing this year. We will hold the fishing derby, and we'll just think about an alternative type of family event that we can substitute, or maybe even make it a little bit better activity. But that's where that will stand for now. So, thank you. Okay. Next order of business is going to be a revision to the scope statement for the legal liaison to add a sentence pertaining to the review of invoices submitted for payment. And this is a request for approval for a revision. Would someone make a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Joyce. Okay, any discussion, comments, or questions? With this, it's,
Good business practice.
yes, okay. So, with the particular scopes statement, it is just the adding of a sentence, invoice review does not require or authorize either a liaison or secretary treasurer of the board to determine the purpose or substance of each billing contract. So, all those in favor by saying, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, thank you. All right. Now we come to announcements. Pulling into the home stretch here. And, is there any other business coming before the board at this time? No. Okay. All right. With the announcements, there is a Board Talk article that will be in August 2028 in the Lighthouse, and that's written by Bill Stenzel, and it is titled Luther Village Has a Gap Problem, and What is the Board of Directors Doing About It? And it is a very informative and interesting article. Regarding the standing committees, the Life Enrichment will have their next meeting Thursday, August 13th at 10 a.m. in the morning here in the meeting room. The Dining Committee will meet on Thursday, August 13th at 2 p.m. here in the dining room. Buildings and Grounds, their meeting will be Friday, August 14th at 10 a.m. in the meeting room. The General Residence meeting will be August 24th at 2:30. and that will be here in the meeting room. As Joyce had mentioned, the candidates forum will be held September 8th at 2 p.m. here in the meeting room. And then just everyone watch their mailboxes for additional information regarding that. The Board of Directors workshop will be September 9th at 10 a.m. here in the meeting room. And the next Board of Directors meeting will be September 28th, 2:30 p.m. in the meeting room. One of the things I had forgotten to mention, with the LCS brokerage, that there will be an upcoming, what we call in-house residence happy hour on November 9th. And that will probably be at 4:30, and that usually is up in the Lakeview Club. There is going to be another prospective buyer event, but that will be in October. And they also are going to be having represent LCS brokerage at the Illinois Senior Expo in October. And I don't know if that's in Schaumburg or if it's in the city. So, anything else to come before the board? Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Jack, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, sign. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? All right. Meeting is adjourned. Now, at this time, ladies and gentlemen, as is our courtesy, that we allow residents to ask questions or offer comments. We do have some little rules that we want to follow, and that is please wait until you're acknowledged by the chair. Wait for a microphone, please, and make sure that the microphone is close to your face, your mouth, and turned on. And then, it's very important regarding the microphones, because this way everyone here at the board table can hear your question or comment. Likewise, everyone else in the meeting room here can hear your comments or question, and the viewers on 1903. When you are acknowledged and going to speak, please state your name and where you live, please. All right. So we have, but Flory had her hand up right away. Okay. And then you'll be next.
My name is Flory Van Roy, and I'm in Arlington. This is to Mr. Fox. When is the new trial date going to be set?
Wolf.
Oh.
Dan, you might want to just come and sit, because I'm sure that you're going to be getting a lot of questions.
No problem, no problem. Trial date is not set yet. There needs to be a status date before the trial judge. What happens is when an appellate court issues a ruling, there's a 35-day period that allows the losing party on appeal to file a motion to reconsider or an appeal. We don't expect them to do either. And after 35 days, the appellate court issues what's called a mandate that vests jurisdiction back in the trial court. We expect that to happen around August 5th. And then sometime after that, probably within a couple of weeks, by mid-August, there'll be a status date before the trial judge. The attorneys will go back before the trial judge, at which time she will probably set trial dates, but there might also be some pretrial activity before that. I don't expect a trial this calendar year, but it's possible. That's okay.
Okay. This gentleman here.
Glenn Gross, Arlington. Concerning the grills, what about some kind of amnesty date or process for people to get rid of the grills so each person does not have to deal with it?
Yeah.
That is a great idea, and we will plan on doing that and putting something formalized for everybody.
So individuals don't have to pay for pickup?
Absolutely. We will take care of it on site with our own staff to assist with that if needed. Yes, thank you.
Second item, concerning the fishing derby, how about embedding in the process some kind of educational session prior to or during the derby concerning proper etiquette of fishing equipment?
Well, I know, like, for the last couple of fishing derbies throughout the the event, there have been announcements made as to, who caught what's the largest fish this time. We can ask whoever is handling those announcements to always interject, please police your area and make sure you're cleaning up after.
Perhaps a small gathering before the event.
Because we don't know who all is coming. That's one of the things.
Make it part of the process.
There are reservations, but a lot of them are kids. So,
Well, we said adults have to watch the kids.
yeah. So that would be actually a decision that would be made by the particular departments who are coordinating the fishing derby.
Sharon Parrott from Arlington House. I have two questions. The first one is for Joanne regarding the status of the monument discussion with the village.
Hi, Sharon. Thank you. So the status right now is I have to fill out a document for the village and provide some specs. So I am working on that. That is a project on my list.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The second question is regarding the status of the negotiations with LCS for the two contracts. Are you still negotiating, or what's the status?
Yes and no. There's really only one contract. The consulting agreement will cease to be in effect as of the end of August, and that one goes away. The brokerage portion, we are negotiating. In fact, we have another meeting later this week. An LCS group will be coming in here Thursday, and we'll sit. We've had several email exchanges back and forth with we give them our version, they send us their version. I'm waiting. The last I had noticed that late today, they hope to send me their latest version. It depends whether their attorneys turn loose of it in time.
That's LCS
Yes.
regarding the real estate. Is the discussion, well, I know it's one contract, but one is a combination of the two. What situation is it with the LCS consulting contract? Is that just going away
That goes
in
away.
August?
That
That's just
goes
going
away.
away? There's no negotiation?
Right,
We're done with that one?
right.
Okay, any other proposals as to how we can manage that?
We're trying.
You're
Well-
trying.
That's the job of the board.
Yeah, I know.
Right. And we currently are have a membership with an industry organization that has been working out very, very well, Leading Age. And they have been very helpful, offering, guest speakers. I know Joanne and several of the board members attended their most recent conference in Schaumburg. Joanne has gone to another conference that they hosted, and they offer a lot of resource material and contacts. So that has been working out much, much better so
Okay.
far.
So the directors of each department are going to be communicating with Joanne regarding this as to
Yeah,
what their
as to the
needs
board,
are?
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Right here.
Hi,
Oh, but here.
Sheila Ford, 1404 Luther Lane. I'm not sure who to address this to, but anyway, all last week a truck who we don't know the owner of was parked in Luther Lane cul-de-sac, which was noticed by several of the occupants of the cul-de-sac. We asked the lady security person if she knew anything about the truck, only to be told it belonged to maintenance, which of course we did not believe. The residents are required to acquire overnight permission guest passes, but the truck had none that we could see. My question is this a new policy that Luther Village now entertains outsiders to park on our property willy-nilly?
No, this is the first I'm hearing.
I believe that was a contractor's truck that was doing work on the property, and I did ask them to have that moved if it's still located there.
They left Friday night and they came back Sunday.
Okay. I'll have to get a little bit more information on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Susan Adelman. I live in a courtyard on Luther Lane, and I'm addressing this to Dan Wolf. Our whole property is, my husband used to call it, I think it was an attractive nuisance. Because where I used to live, a teenager drowned in a body of water in back of our house. Okay, so there's an illegal out, excuse me. And I've witnessed some stuff. I don't see the kids at night. I do face the pond. But a couple of weeks ago, I happened to look out my window, and there was a party in the summer house. And I looked, and some parents took their 3-4-year-old and sat them on the plank that goes out to the swan feeder. So you have people using this property. If a teenager falls in, if that child fell in, if anything goes wrong at a summer house party, what does Luther Village do? What will happen to us?
We have liability.
That's a really difficult question to answer because any particular incident would be very fact-specific. I'm hearing in this meeting that there are concerns about the pond and the swans and the kids on the bikes and the this and the that. And if the board invites me to do so and wants me to do so, I'm happy to have a discussion with them about risk mitigation. Obviously, it starts with insurance, but there are some things you can do. Attractive nuisance is a concept at law.
Yes.
There are things you can do to mitigate that risk. It becomes particularly difficult. The younger people get, the harder it is to mitigate that risk. But there are some things that, as an entity, you can do with signage and waivers and things like that that can mitigate those risks.
Thank you.
I'm Jean O'Connor, and I live on Luther Lane, and I would just like to thank our legal representative for all the work all of your group has done for us and how much we appreciate it. Very, very much. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and I will pass that on to, I don't want to take any credit for this. It's the team at Skadden, some of which you have met, have done the actual legal work, and I'm proud to be the middleman. With a little bit of oversight, but they do the work. And in fact, I have a conference with them this afternoon on my way out of here. I'll be sure to send that regard. Thank you.
Okay. B, you have.
My name is Ron Pfeiffer, and I live in a villa on Luther Lane. And I have a question about motion number 3, which is the Permanent Board of Directors Finance Committee to permit membership of the committee to include former Board of Director members. Any committee that has no limit on the number of people on the committee can become awfully unmanageable, number one. Number 2 would be why only limit it, or why only add former Board of Directors members when I'm sure there are residents that are duly qualified in the finance area to be on a finance committee.
All right.
So,
in regards to that, for the particular membership on an annual committee, it's usually limited to 2 or 3 or 4. And with having prior or former board members, they are still under the fiduciary rule of confidentiality, and that is the main purpose. Now, throughout any of the committees, there might be episodes or incidents where we would bring in additional residents for a specific type of topic or project and that, but the main thing there for past board members is because of fiduciary responsibilities that carries all the way to our graves. So,
I might comment too, this is a board of directors committee, not a general committee of the corporation. So there's a bit of a distinction there.
okay, yes.
Hi, Eloise Von Druska, Arlington House. I want to add my thanks to Mr. Wolf, to Skadden, also to the board and administration for all your work on this litigation process. It's been a long journey. I did read the whole 20-page appeals decision. It is awesome to see what they discovered, talked about. It was a real eye-opener. I loved reading it. My question to Mr. Wolf, what is the process or likelihood for a settlement process to start? Does WP4 start? Does Luther Village say something? How might that come about instead of going to a trial?
So I got to be careful what I talk about here, because obviously settlement discussions and things are confidential, and attorney-client privilege only attaches to the board. But in a high level, there are really no rules. Settlement can be initiated by either party. There is some strategy. We've talked about it already. There's some strategy as to timing, as to when and if Luther Village will make an overture. We are anticipating that WP4 at some point will make an overture. Who goes first, I'm not sure yet. But rest assured that the board and I and Skadden are in very close communication about the different possibilities and combinations and permutations that could form a settlement. And the one thing I can say, you read the opinion, which is great. I don't know if you have any legal background, but even to a layman, you could glean from that opinion that the appellate court was not happy with what the trial court did. And we are hoping that WP4 reads that and changes their approach a little bit, or a lot of it.
Liz Lightbody Campbell. I'm wondering when we're getting a new chef. Do we have a problem?
A new chef.
I don't cook.
Lori's not here. Okay. In regards to seeking out a new chef, they are still recruiting and doing interviews. So we're working on it.
Yes.
Judy Van Boeven, Camel House. What is to prevent a resident living in a mid-rise on the first floor from pulling a barbecue grill out onto the grass?
The village.
Joanne will answer that. She's been almost
That
daily
was one
communication.
suggestion that we did put forward to the Village of Arlington Heights, but they did decline that and said that they cannot be anywhere in the mid-rise buildings. That's an ordinance.
Is that specifically stated?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I have another question about the nominating procedure. How many people applied to be elected to the board? How many total applied?
There were several. It's not, the nominating task force is not obligated to indicate how many or who the applicants were. There were several. Any person at Luther Village has the opportunity to run for election as an at-large candidate.
Dennis Reardon, Campbell House. Russ, if I recall correctly, the fee that we were paying LCS for that contract was rather steep. Does that fee also go away?
Yes.
Good. Where can we use that money also?
I mean, Sharon's actually pretty good at finding places to use money.
Okay. Hey, Carol, when you say you're using outside resources, to provide information to the various new committees. You mentioned that outside group.
Leading Age.
Yeah, yeah.
And we
So-
have an annual membership.
Okay, so there are several, because, again, it's like Bill Stenzel used to do for the Long-Term Planning Committee. He would do a lot of research and then bring it in. So they will do that for you guys, and then,
Well, I mean, various committees will do their research on whatever project they're working on. This is in regards to governance and management of our community and assisting along those lines.
okay. And Dan Foxwolf, one other question. Under the new guidelines, will it go back to the old file number, case number, or the new case number? In case some of us, I'm going to look it up online.
The most recent case number, the most recent trial court case number.
Okay, so that's going back to Judge Riley's court. Okay, thank you.
Susan Adelman?
It's Susan again. I have a further observation or comment about the fishing situation here. And I have grandchildren who used to participate in the fishing derby, and one of my grandsons, who's now 20, is an avid fisherman. And his comment to me, and I want everyone to hear this, that by fishing in that small pond, just remember this, we are making it an unhealthy place for the fish. Because as the fish are caught and the fish hook goes in, they wind up with a very sore jaw, and they get confused and they don't want to eat. So it's possible that they will starve. And the other possibility is now I see we have an algal bloom. If they're not eating, and they're not eating what's in the pond, then we get algal blooms and we get further problems. Because this is a very small pond, the suggestions of going to the larger ponds in the area like Twin Lakes and Lake Arlington are very valid. Maybe possibly buses can be run. But I just want you all to keep this in mind as we go further.
Several people said they had copies of the appeal court. For those that don't, where can they get a copy? Where online can they get a copy? Is it the
Probably easier if we make them available here somewhere, if we get it here. I can make one available to Joanne and easier way to disseminate.
Yeah, there's a website.
If you would like a copy, you can come to the administration office and would gladly make a copy for you.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth White from Dunton House, and I have first a thank you to the board members who remember to wear their name tags, and I'm hoping that some of the others will do so in the future. Makes it easier for new residents to identify you when you're out and about. And secondly, there has been a quiet loss of some of the amenities that have been part of Luther Village for quite some time. They got well cards and tea bags for people who were in the hospital or rehabbing. That no longer apparently happens. And even the birthday sundaes have no longer been produced. These are things that make life here at Luther Village a great deal more hospitable, welcoming, and interesting. And maybe with these monies we're saving from not renewing that contract, some of these things can be worked back into life here at Luther Village.
Okay.
Would you like, I can take that Liz and I met last week to discuss those concerns, and I did let her know that I'm looking into that, and we're looking at revamping those programs. Thank you.
Right, I was, last month I delivered the cheer list, and oftentimes I got my pink slips with that, and that was indicating people who had returned home to get a welcome home, and that a lot of this depends on the person letting the Health Resource Office know that they're back home. And I gather getting people from the hospital over to Lutheran Home, they're sometimes not acknowledging where our residents are located. So there's a lot of different, parts to getting this, up and running again. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attendance and your attention.